These in-ear monitors hide this inside this. Yep, a DAC. Not this benchmark, obviously, but a DAC nonetheless. A proper DAC, hidden inside a tiny USB connector. For years we've spent hundreds, sometimes thousands of euros or dollars on DACs to improve the sound of our HiFi systems. Now someone has decided to put one inside the cable of a pair of in-ears. So the question is, does it actually work? I guess not. Yeah, let's find out. I have to admit it, the HIDIZS Nebula ST2 Pro introduced a concept I'd never really explored before. At first glance, they look like just another pair of USB-C earphones. They're not. They're something quite different. Inside this tiny USB-C module, there's an ESS Sabre DAC chip, a proper audiophile DAC, capable of decoding high-resolution PCM audio, DSD, and MKA. In practical terms, that means the digital-to-analog conversion no longer depends on your phone, your laptop, or your tablet. The digital signal comes through USB-C, it's converted right here and then sent straight to the drivers. It's an incredible clever idea, because wherever you plug them in, you're carrying the same DAC with you. For the first time, I genuinely felt I could get a proper audiophile listening experience from a completely ordinary smartphone. And honestly, that was a bit of a revelation. But this HIDIZS caught my attention for another reason. If it wasn't for the USB connector, I'd swear I was looking at a pair of professional stage monitors. They have exactly the kind of design you'd expect to see in the ears of a guitarist performing live. Hide the USB-C connector, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Beyoncé wearing something very similar on stage. The braided cable feels excellent. They're lightweight, very comfortable, and the passive noise isolation is surprisingly good. But the ST2 Pro aren't just about music. They also include a high-definition microphone for phone calls, along with an inline remote that lets you answer calls, play and pause your music, and control playback. There is one compromise worth mentioning. Because these earphones are built around USB-C, you can't simply plug them into every audio device. But there's something interesting about this clip. You're actually listening to me through the microphone built into these very earphones. So this isn't just me talking about the microphone. It's also a chance for you to judge its sound quality for yourself. And personally, I think that's always better than reading specifications on a website. There's something else I found particularly interesting. Just like the music, the microphone signal is also digitally processed inside the USB module before it's sent to your phone. So really this is much more than just a DAC. It's basically a tiny USB audio interface built into the cable. While I was testing this, an idea crossed my mind. And HIDIZS, you're welcome to steal it. Imagine if this USB-C module was removable. Today you choose the ESS version, tomorrow an AKM version, next week something with a completely different sound signature. In other words, DAC rolling for earphones. And honestly, I don't think we're that far away from seeing something like this. Another thing that really surprised me was the incredible low latency that makes this ST2 Pro a genuinely interesting option for gaming. I tested them on my laptop and on my Eversolo A6. In both cases they were recognized instantly as a USB DAC. No drivers, no setup. Just plug them in and they're ready to go. It was actually my son who pointed something else out. A lot of competitive gamers already use this style of in-ear monitor. And after trying them myself, I completely understand why. But here's the thing. All these specifications, as impressive as they may sound, mean absolutely nothing if the sound quality doesn't live up to them. And that's exactly where the real surprises began. Before we talk about the sound, let me make a small confession. If you've been following this channel for a while, you'll know I rarely talk about price. Not because it isn't important, it is, but because I'd rather judge a product by what it delivers than by the number on the price tag. The whole idea of something being cheap or expensive is incredibly subjective. Some people think spending £1,000, euros or dollars on headphones is perfectly reasonable. Others think it's completely insane. It all depends on your priorities, your budget, and how much this hobby means to you. So from my point of view, there's really no such thing as cheap or expensive HiFi. That said, these are cheap. Every audiophile knows that the shorter the signal path, the less opportunity there is to lose information along the way. That's why we like simple signal paths, short cables, direct connections. The fewer stages, the better. In theory, the perfect system would send the signal straight from the DAC to the speakers. Unfortunately, physics gets in the way. A DAC simply doesn't have enough power to drive a pair of loudspeakers. That's why we still need amplifiers. With earphones, it's a completely different story. The drivers require far less power, which makes something like this possible. A DAC driving the earphones directly. And maybe, just maybe, that's why my very first impression was so unexpected. The first thing I noticed wasn't the sound quality. It was the volume. And when I say volume, I mean serious volume. You know that warning your phone gives you? Listening at high volume may damage your hearing. Normally that warning appears just before things start getting really loud. With this HIDIZS, by the time that warning appears, it's already too late. From that moment on, you'll probably stop hearing your better half, asking you to do the dishes. Permanently. Come to think of it, I'm not entirely convinced that's actually a disadvantage. If you're one of those people who keep saying, "My headphones never get loud enough," congratulations, your search is officially over. These have enough power for you, your neighbor, and probably an entire village somewhere. Now, I'm not saying they'll make your death in 5 minutes. I'm simply saying if you suddenly disappear from the comment section after watching this review, I already have a theory. On a serious note, please be careful. These little HIDIZS are generally capable of producing very high sound pressure levels. And however funny the jokes may be, your hearing doesn't come with spare parts. But the volume wasn't what impressed me the most, it was the dynamics. One of the very first tracks I played was High Life from the legendary album Jazz at the Pawn Shop, and I only needed the first few seconds. The moment the saxophone comes in, there's an impact that completely caught me off guard. Now, I'm not talking about playing loudly, lots of equipment can do that. I'm talking about something else. That effortless ability to go from complete silence to explosive energy without sounding compressed, without sounding strained, and without losing its natural character. That's what gives music its sense of life, and that's exactly what I found here. To my surprise, this tiny HIDIZS actually felt more dynamic than my Bose. Now, That deserves a bit of context. The Bose follow a completely different philosophy: wireless convenience, active noise cancelling, everyday versatility. That's what they're designed to do, and to be fair, they also cost about 7 times more. Even so, when it comes to sheer dynamics, these little HIDIZS genuinely surprised me. The sound signature deserves a few words too. The treble is incredibly clean, extended, full of detail. Bass is fast, punchy, well controlled. Compared directly with my Bose, I'd say the Bose sound fuller and more relaxed. The HIDIZS take a completely different approach. They're all about precision, definition, transparency. These are earphones that tell you exactly what's in the recording, the good and the bad. They don't try to flatter poor recordings, they simply tell the truth. Another pleasant surprise, they're remarkably consistent. Whether I plug them into my phone, my laptop or my Eversolo, their character remains the same. And they cope brilliantly with almost every genre I threw at them. But if I had to choose, I'd say this really comes alive with rock, pop and electronic music. The speed, the attack, the dynamics, those genres absolutely love these earphones. Jazz and blues still sound wonderful. In fact, the saxophone on High Life remained one of my favorite moments throughout this review, because these HIDIZS have an infectious energy. They're the kind of earphones that make your foot tap before you even realize you're doing it. The only problem is explaining to the person sitting next to you on the sofa or lying next to you in bed why you're still tapping your foot at 11 o'clock at night. There's something fascinating about the world of HiFi. Audiophiles spend years perfecting the system they have at home. Better speakers, better decks, better amplifiers, better streamers. We debate cables, swap fuses, buy anti-vibration platforms. The list never ends. And then we spend hours listening to music away from that system. On a plane, on a train, at work, on holiday, or sitting in front of a laptop. And somehow that's exactly where many of us settle for the worst sound quality we ever listened to. That's what this HIDIZS made me realize. For the first time, I felt that someone had taken a few genuinely high-end audio ideas and made them truly portable. And that's a much bigger deal than it might seem, because we're not just improving a pair of earphones, we're improving the way we experience music everywhere else. I started this review curious. I'm finishing it genuinely impressed. I expected a decent pair of USB-C earphones. I didn't expect them to challenge the way I think about portable audio. And I certainly didn't expect to look at my Bose and quietly think, Actually, I think I finally discovered what my Bose are really good for, reminding me just how much fun these little HIDIZS are. If products like this continue to evolve, if manufacturers keep pushing dedicated decks, better DSP and more modular designs, I honestly believe we're witnessing the beginning of something very exciting in portable audio. And I sincerely hope this is only the beginning, because it's been a very long time since a product at this price has impressed me this much. Thank you for spending your time with me. I'm João Viçoso. This is HiFi Room. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.